Welcome back to Rednecks Dirtyhands. I'm Pete. I'm here with the lovely Christina.
Hello.
And today we're going to be raw dogging. The Dodge, that is. That's my 2007 Dodge Ram 2500 Cummins 5.9 liter 4x4. That's the heavy hauler. And today, you know what? We're going to be doing a little bit of a sponsor video. It's kind of cool. You know, we're a relatively small channel, but I've had a few companies reach out. The Tire Man out in Nova Scotia, they reached out to me and said, you know what, we love the stuff you guys do. We love following the adventures of Pete, Christina, and Jim and all, D-Ron, everybody. So they offered to send us out a set of tires for the raw dog. And it's like, you know what, I could actually use a set of tires for the raw dog. So thanks to the Tire Man. So yeah, huge shout out to the Tire Man website, www.thetireman.ca.
You don't have to say the WW part.
I'm just used to saying it. So, you know, I'll put a link in the description. I'll show you the tires and all that. And then we also got Spelab sent me out a aluminum rear diff cover that we're going to be putting on this thing to spruce her up. You know, got to have a good looking rear end, right, baby?
Oh yeah, nice and shiny.
Oh yeah. And then I got a air intake from, it's like cold air intake from Flashark. So we'll put all the links in the description. Christina, with the fancy editing, will put it up on the screen for everybody. And then I do believe we got some promo codes for all these products and the companies and all that stuff. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But for now, we got to get the raw dog into the shop. And the problem is even though I got sponsored some tires, still don't really have a good working tire machine. So
yes,
we're gonna have a bit of a hard time mounting these. I did a test fit yesterday, and it was a struggle. I blew a nut trying to get it out. My back still hurts. So, you know, thanks to brother-in-law Lenny there, he between his tire machine and my old tire machine, I was able to get her done, but not for the faint of heart. JP said I could take them to a company in Coburg tire shop that would do them. I was like, you know what? Probably should have took them up on that, but I figure it'd make for good content to show you how a redneck changes big old dirty tires.
Yeah. I mean, if we can't do them, then we'll send them off. But
never say can't. So if you haven't seen this before, Christina and I, you know, we did all this. That's all actual paint. That's not a graphic or anything like that. You know, that's a sticker from my buddy Nick there. But, you know, the good thing about Amazon is you can get pretty much anything over there. That's the Redneck Edition, the Ram It, you know what I mean? So we got our logo on there. I did get a vinyl graphic off of Amazon just to lay on here. I painted it all just with Duplicolor. I think that was high heat red engine enamel. And then I got the flat black on there. It does a kind of cool, when you get up close, like a crackle effect, which I kind of like, you know. That's how I did on my old, the bobber project that I did with the old Suzuki Savage 650. It turned out really good, and that was an accident, so let's duplicate it. We got the skull in there. And yes, I do call it the raw dog, so, you know, we got a sponsor. I like the skulls. We got to get a new Canadian flag. Nick's going to try and work on a new design for the back window sticker there, you know, and we gotta promote that we are Canadian.
That was Ford red, wasn't it?
Yeah, shush, yes. It is Ford engine enamel red.
That's why it looks so good.
That's probably why it's gonna break down.
No.
No, but you and I did this together, you know, we work as a team, you know, we painted, scuffed it all down, painted it. I got this truck originally off my brother from another mother, Joe. His son, Noel, there, had this. It was all blue. When he had it, it was all rotted out. I got a box off a fella in town. We had got some donor parts. Buddy Greg, tow truck Greg, he found me some donor doors and all that stuff. So we swapped her all over, painted her up. She needs a little bit more love. Her frame's getting kind of rusty, and I got these are the rims and tires that I was running on it. I bought these off a marketplace a couple years ago, 20-inch rims. They look cool. They need a good washing. But these tires here, the tread pattern, I mean, it's aggressive, but the slightest bit of dampness on the road or a little bit of snow, like the first snowfall, I hit my brakes over here and I was going like slow and I slid right past the driveway. So like they're no good. They're death traps.
Yeah.
Those winter ones, the Firestone Destinations, they work great in the winter time, but these ones not so much. So the new tires that we got from the Tire Man, they should be quite a bit better. And those ones there, like we drove this thing to Minnesota to Heydays, and those things howl.
They do. Yes.
So, like, you can't even think. They're so loud. Like, anybody that's had big tires on their truck with aggressive lugs, they know they're not the quietest thing going down the highway. So hopefully these new tires from the Tire Man, a little bit quieter. Okay, first things first before we get going, we gotta get her into the shop. Oh, what are you doing in here?
Comes equipped with a free dog.
You want to take your daughter out of here?
She wants to go for the ride.
How's it going, Poppy? I haven't been driving this one too much because I got the F-150 over there off of Buddy Case, and yeah, I kind of miss driving this one, so it'll be good to get the new set of tires on there. We got to put new brakes on it as well. They're a little bit, I think calipers are kind of seasoned, the road's pretty rusted from sitting. So it'll be nice to get this raw dog back up and running.
Yeah, it does sound good.
Yeah, well, we need it because we got to tow the trailer. We're going to Mossport. We're going to be camping out there for the race weekend, so the raw dog's got to be back in action. So while we're doing this, Jim's gonna be in the background working on a few different projects. We got this 2014 or 2015, I forget what year it is, Viper off of our buddy Farmer Southern Sled and Truck. And Nick did a wild wrap design for it to match the crackle on the raw dog there. So I think this is gonna be a pretty wild looking sled when it's all said and done. Nader's gonna come over later to do some polishing on the aluminum tunnel because we got to brighten that up. We didn't want to put any stickers on this, it's bare aluminum. I kind of like when they're all polished, nice and shiny looking, so we know Nick doesn't enjoy doing it, but it's
Not really.
it's gonna look magnifique. And one of you might be able to own this. You know, we're gonna be putting her up for sale. It'd be I think a pretty good deal for it. We haven't really hammered out a price yet on it, but I mean, it's gonna look good, sound good, run good. So we'll just see what happens. Okay, so the raw dog, we got to set it up on the hoist there. So these were the 20-inch 35 by 12.5 R20s that I had on there. You know, they're cool looking tire and all that, but they are noisy and they are no good in the wet conditions. They might be good for mud, but you know, we got the Jeep to go mudding in, right? I don't know, get a 8,000 pound truck stuck. Need a pretty good winch to get that sucker out. So I still got the nice rims, out with the old tires, in with the new. These are the tires that the Tire Man sent to me there. Tireman.ca, www.tireman.ca. These ones here, you know, the tread pattern is a lot tighter, smaller lug, and it's all closer together in the middle. So I'm hoping they'll be quieter. You know, we'll still get still a fairly aggressive tread. I'm hoping they work a little bit good in the wet conditions too, but I'm pretty optimistic that these are not only gonna look good, they should ride good, and they should hopefully sound good too. Whoa, 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 whoa. Going down the road. I mean, they look good on the rims, you know, and these ones here, I thought when they first showed up, I'll grab a sticker off one of the other ones. Well, actually, sure, come over here, babe.
What?
All the three of us were in here having a few bevies the other night, looking at these new tires that the Tire Man sent us, and then Jim's over there, he's like, I wonder what they'd look like on the old F7. So set it up. Well, you gotta look at the vantage point there. Is that not the coolest looking trike you've ever seen in your life? So, Tire Man, we may need some more tires, eh? We might have another project on the go here. But it's funny because, you know, when they showed up, she sent me the info for the, you know, the name of the tires and all that. They're actually Antares, I think is how it's pronounced. But when I first saw it, I was like, Naders! Hey, these are Naders tires! Oh, Napa Man's here, hold on. Too bad these aren't sponsored, eh? The Napa Man's got some big perks for me. So yeah, I think they're pretty good looking tires. You know, these Antares deep diggers. I think it is kind of fitting because, you know what? we make jokes, you know, all the sleds, we put the studs in, we call them dangle diggers, right? So why not have deep diggers on the raw dog? So I think it's fitting, perfect fit for us. Now, we just have to try and switch them. So these rims, they're such a deep dish. These are 12.5 wide tires, but I'm pretty sure these rims are meant for a little bit wider aspect tire because these sidewalls are kind of bulged out a little bit. So it's a little bit of a trick, especially with my ancient tire machines, to get these mounted and taking air and all that. I tried Lenny's machine, you know, I appreciate him bringing it over for us to use, but it's even older than my machine, so you can't fit the big tires on there. The bead breaker works way better on his machine than it does on mine, so I bust the beads with his machine, and then my old tire machine, like I bought these things used freaking 20 years ago probably, but it can clamp a 20-inch rim if you cut the tips of the jaws off. So it wouldn't fit in there, and the inside clamp, these things are all worn down. It's not strong enough to hold the rim tight, so I cut all the edges off of there so it actually does. It's a nice tight fit in there. So I can clamp them in there, and the problem is too, I gotta put it in backwards. I gotta take the tire off and put it back on the back side of the rim because of this deep dish. There's just no way of me folding it and pulling the bead up over the top. So Jim, it's a good thing you're here today because I struggled by myself yesterday doing this one, and we got 3 more to do. So is there lots of beer in the fridge?
Always.
Oh yeah, we'll have beers after, eh?
A full case right there.
Yeah.
So now I know these tires, they are made in China, but the Tire Man is a Canadian company in the Maritimes, Nova Scotia. Started off as a small-time business, you know, in the backyard, and they've grown. They got the best deal on tires, apparently, across the Maritimes. They ship all across the country now, I believe. I don't know about the United States, so I have to look into that, but, I mean, even though they're from China, almost everything's from China these days.
Oh, yeah.
China, you can kind of thank China for probably all the best things in the world. Gunpowder, alcohol, Jackie Chan. You know, it is what it is. I can't think of any Canadian companies that make tires, so, you know, we got to put on what we got. So I'll get the hoist all set up, lift it up. We're going to be changing the diff cover too, but we might have to get you washing this thing, honey, because the birds have been decorating it.
I watch the 4-wheelers, so
One thing I don't like about these fancy rims and tires is they all use these freaking spline nuts, so you got to use a special socket for them. They're all thin wall, you know, using the impact gun. I have snapped these before, but I'm getting too old to do it all by hand, you know what I mean? So, and I have seen these ones, actually, one of Iron Equipment's, I think it was their van or something had these on. They were so rusted, they split the tops off, and like they were just a bugger to undo. Good thing I had my Wheaties this morning. These ones aren't too bad. They're wearing a little funny on the inside, but we're just gonna ignore that we saw that and carry on with our lives. And with the old and with the new, eh? This is more of a test if I ate my Wheaties this morning. Oh, this is how you get a freaking hernia. Whoa.
that wasn't too bad.
Not too shabby. So I can put this one on because I mounted it up yesterday. It actually balanced pretty good too. So I should, if I was thinking, I should have mounted one more so we had a bit of a head start today, because we don't have to put any brakes or do anything to the front of this truck. We got to put rear brakes on it. But I was not thinking that far ahead.
Tisk tisk.
All right. But I gotta say, It does look good.
It does look pretty sexy.
Oh, get these back ones off. And that is why we got to do rear brakes. Looks like that's the brakes on the Titanic. Look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, oh, do we have... Yeah, let me grab a light real quick. Look at how crusty those are. And then the pad, yep, we're on borrowed time. They're getting pretty tin down in there. There's still a little bit of life. There's still
Hard to see, but yeah.
there's still a little meat on them bones, but I mean, I think it's due time to change these rotors. You know, we want to do some more long haul trips, don't we, baby?
We do, yeah.
We need to be able to stop if we do that.
We want to try to go back down to heydays again.
We do. I think it'd be fun if we can get your mama tuned up and ready to go. Go back to Minnesota. Maybe even take Jim's the shocker. You want to go to Minnesota, Jim?
I've never been.
Get your passport.
Yeah, that one pretty much looks the same. Look at the rust stain just from it sitting there.
Bye.
Ay, caramba. Welcome to Ontario.
Yeah.
Freaking salt on all the roads and everything. And I hate to say it, I mean, this box that we got off the fella was pretty rusty and crusty on the underside, some of the rims and all that. I knew it was borrowed time, but just having a look here.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not long for this world, so the old raw dog might be turning, losing the box and getting a sled deck or something like that. Oh yeah, she's rusting out on the bottom here.
Oh yeah.
In the back too. Starting to bleed through. There's a big old rust hole gonna be happening.
All our hard work.
Right, well, I don't know. Maybe we turn the raw dog into another project. I do have a 91 Chevrolet or GMC Suburban square body. It'd be cool, 3/4 ton diesel powered, wouldn't it?
I think so.
So while we're here doing all this, we're gonna be doing the rear brakes. We're gonna be swapping the tires on the rims and everything. We're also going to be doing something about this rusty, crappy old diff cover there. Now, another sponsor to this video, Spelab, sent me an aluminum differential cover to spruce this up. We're gonna have to undercoat this thing, get rid of this, all this rust and flaky, the dirt stuff. But I'm gonna undo this now. Common problem, especially here in Ontario, you get all the rust and salt and all that stuff happening in your vehicles. These things, the diff covers, GM, the old 10-bolt rear ends and all that stuff were notorious for rotting out, and then you get a slow leak or whatever. So it's nice to be able to update not only the look of it, but the functionality. The new diff cover has a fill port and a drain port, so you can service your rear end. You know, no, you got to service your rear end every once in a while, right, babe? So I'm gonna clean all the rust. Like, look at this thing. We'll get this all cleaned off. I'll pull this cover off while we're here, and then I'll open up the box and show you the new cover. Another awesome feature of living in a province or a state, wherever you are, that uses salt on the roads. Yeah, not only does your cover or the underside of your vehicle get rusty, so does all the freaking bolts holding the cover on. That right there is supposed to be a 13 mil or 1/2 inch nut or bolt, and that is just rounding off. So I do have some of these I think they're called twist sockets or twist grip. I got them off of I think these ones are off the Mack tool truck. So you just pound those suckers on there. Oh, they bite right in. Tickety-boo.
Heck yeah.
Now we just got to do that 13 more times because they're all freaking rusted off. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure the new cover comes with its own brand new hardware. All right, baby, so I got them all out. Some of them were a bugger. I definitely needed those twist sockets to just keep hammering on the ratchet and put force on it because they were just rounded right off. So now I got them all out. This here is a spot weld chisel. It's nice and flat, but it's got sharp edges all the way around. I like using it for splitting. Obviously, I got all the bolts out, and this thing ain't leaking yet because it's glued on. They don't use gaskets on these. They silicone them on. So, we gotta hammer this up in there. Break the seal. Oh. It's a good thing we're doing this.
Ooh.
It's not supposed to be that color. Oh, and it smells just lovely.
Smells terrible.
It's a good thing they don't have smell-o-vision, eh?
Nah.
Anybody that's done, you know, a rear end job or service or all that, you know what the dirty old gear oil smells like.
Has like a propane smell to it.
Oh yeah, get a whiff of that.
I'm okay.
But yeah, that is definitely,
Very sick.
it's got a bit of, that's what she said.
Mm.
It's definitely got signs of a little bit of moisture in there, so I'll have to double check my vent, make sure it's free and clear. But that definitely, that fluid's been, she's been warm once or twice, that's for sure. Just trying to get as much fluid out as we can. We'll obviously let this drip while we're doing the tires and the brakes and all that other stuff, but at least we're not finding any chunks of gears or bearing or anything in here, so that's a bonus. Okay, while that is draining, I already, like when this first showed up, I kind of peeked in the box because I wanted to make sure it was the right one before we started doing the video, you know, saying we're gonna put a diff cover on, then oops, wrong one. So this is what Spelab sent me. Mama going to get some gas. Now this thing, the packaging on it, it comes super protected. Like this thing's got all the foam inserts in here, bubble wrapped, and I gotta say, I'm quite impressed with the shipping of it. And look at that beauty. Yeah. That is a billet aluminum diff cover. Oh, and that is solid. That's a duker of a cover. Look at that. Yeah. Look at the machine work on there. So it's got all these grooves supposed to help trap or control the flow of the oil, I guess, in the diff. And then you also got a sight glass so you can see your level.
Okay.
And then you got a fill port up top. And what I think is the best feature, you got a drain port. So differentials, most of them since the beginning of time, don't have any drains. You got to pull the back cover off to drain it. So making a service on it, it's a pain in the butt. So having a fill and a drain on there, then you can just pop plugs out, let her drain, put some new fluid in it, tickety-boo, away you go. Something to do, you could do like gear oil's not that expensive. You could do it like every other oil change type deal. One of the most neglected parts of a vehicle is the differential. Usually they go to the scrapyard with the same oil in it. We do have a casualty with the gasket though, honey. Thankfully, we got right stuff, so I'll probably put a film of right stuff on here, put the gasket on, another film on the differential, we'll glue her on, and thankfully, we got a bag of hardware, so we don't have to reuse the rusty bolts on there. Now this thing here, I gotta say, like, I think I'll have to double check, but I had a quick look on their website for this diff cover, and I want to say, like, it's not that expensive, like $170 or something like that. Like the chunk of aluminum it would have taken to machine this.
Right.
I mean, just to buy a chunk of aluminum like that, I'm pretty sure here in Canada would cost you more than $170. So to get a custom billet aluminum diff cover that looks good, I think it ups the amount of oil you can carry in there, so which would keep it cool. I mean, this is fancy, and I don't know, Spelab, nice one. All right, so at this point in the job, this is where, you know, mechanics in California or whatever would just grab a hold of the rotor and pull it off. But here in Ontario or any province or state that uses salt, this is where you grab a BFH and we gotta pound this sucker off because it's all rusted onto the hub here, and the parking brakes inside have never been used on this thing. So you know what, they're rusted on there too, so you gotta shake everything up, loosen it up. Oh, looks like we got a freaking axle seal leaking. Nice one. Yeah, I got on the phone to Napa.
Oh no.
Never fails. Go to do a freaking video on sponsor stuff from the Rock Dog, and then you get into doing routine maintenance stuff and find out you got to do more. Axle seal's leaking, although I can't lie. The last few times I drove it after parking it, I could kind of smell gear oil. So I was like, I had a sneaky suspicion that it might have been leaking. So I'm not super surprised that we got to do this, but it just wasn't planned. So if you've never done one of these, this is a full floating axle setup. So you just undo all these bolts and then your axle pulls right on out. Nice one. Set that off to the side. We just take a little right angle hook. There's a little spring clip that's holding in a straight little steel keyway. Pull that sucker out. And then you just got a big nut on here. It is super dirty in this rear end. Holy jeez. Pull that big old nut off of there. And then pull that out. This bearing will be loose. Pull it up there. Drain that out. And there is the seal that we got to change. And would you look at that? That's where she's come apart right there.
Oh yeah.
Nice one. So we'll clean this up with some brake clean. Pull that seal out. Napa is going to bring another one in. So while they're doing that, we're at a bit of a standstill. We called Jim off the golf cart project that he's doing, and let's try and wrangle some freaking tires.
Yeah.
Jim! You look like you could use a brake. What do you say? You give me a hand. We can try and swap these big old duker of tires here.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's awesome of the tire man to sponsor us the new tires, but we need to find somebody to sponsor us a good tire machine because. Okay. So I already pulled all the valve stems and everything out of here. So for the last few years, the bead buster on this one's been getting weaker and weaker. So we got Lenny's machine in here on donation, you know. I guess all I got to do is I got to change his tires for him. Even this one's hard to do it. They're so freaking wide and the tires are so big.
Scared the shit out of me.
That one's up. The bead is broken. That's the easy part. Are not fancy at all. We may end up putting a couple of scratches in these. But I mean, it's a truck, right? You get stuff that's way too shiny, you don't ever want to do nothing with it. We're just gonna lose these guys up. And this is where I need your hand, Jim. So I cut all the jaws down so it'll just fit. Typical redneck garage, need 2 tire machines to change 1 tire. Okay, so we gotta put it nice side down in here because we gotta pull the tire off the backside just because of the way the shape of the rim is. So drop it down, hook it into the back ones first. So now we're clamped in like so. And this is pretty much like the max. This machine's not supposed to really, like it says it can do 20-inch rims, but not outside clamping, so that's why I had to cut the jaws off. So now, Jim, the first feed isn't too bad to get. It's the second one. That's the pain. Okay, so now this is where I'm going to need you, Jim, to hold up on this side, and I'll go in on this side, and we got to kind of lift and pry at the same time. Lift. There you got her. Okay. This is gonna take some finesse here. Let me hop in there, Jim. Oh. That went a little bit easier with a second set of hands. Now, you can see, look here, babe, like, it does not fit on this tire machine. Like, we're already hitting there and it won't fit out of here. So now we gotta unclamp it and try and get it out of here. Up and out this way, Jim. And then the tire should. That's one off. Jesus, Murphy. Now we gotta, to put it back on, we need one of the new tires. People love to see Poppy.
Apparently.
Oh, she's so handsome.
Alright, grab one of the old tires, Jim. Lay that down. We gotta lay this on top so we don't totally bugger up the face, the nice face of the rim.
Get my work in today.
Now I imagine, like I hate doing tires. It's like the worst job as far as I'm concerned. But I'm sure if I had one of those fancy new tire machines or something like that, it wouldn't be so bad.
Probably not. Get off your wallet.
Get us a sponsor. So we got these yellow dots. We're gonna put this side, it's gonna be facing out, and we're gonna try when we mount it all up to have that yellow dot lined up with the valve stem. They say doing it that way is supposed to make it the best for balancing. So we'll see what happens there. But for now, what I want to try and do is just slam this guy. Now, if only this one was that easy too. Okay, so now we got to clamp it back into here. So easy. Easy peasy, right? Now, we gotta take it back out. Now we're gonna clamp it from the inside. Oh, do you think we'll be able to air this up without using the little ring-a-doodle? No way, Jose. Not happening. So this is where we got to use. I got these off of Red Stallion years and years ago. I got a few different sizes. This one's actually supposed to be for like a 14 or 15, but I used it yesterday on one of these 20s and stretched her out a little bit. We're gonna lube her up with some soapy water. Up that gap where you can't get the tire to hit the rim to seal up on the air. So they're just a big O-ring. They seal up the tire to the rim, and then I'm pretty sure you're supposed to use like the really slippery, almost like KY tire lube or whatever. So as you air it up, it just pushes that thing out. But right now, because we got it stretched so far, it's not gonna pop it out. So I'm gonna let the air out, pull that ring off, and then we'll air it up again. At least the bottom bead's on, so we won't be fighting that. Now we're just gonna pull that ring out of there.
Nice one.
Right? And then take the tire out again. I'm just going to rest it on the edge of the tire machine there.
You're not getting it, Jim.
If she blows, I'm going to the moon. Well, tickety-boo. That went way better with your help there, Jim. Yesterday, like...
Didn't do much.
Oh, just having the extra set of hands to do her, holy geez. So I'll crank this up. I think max pressure on these is 65, I think. I'll take them up to probably 60. Oh, you even lined up the dot for me.
Yes, I did.
All right, she's all aired up to 60 PSI, and now we just gotta cap it off with the Punisher. I found these things on Amazon. I was like, well, you can see the tailgate. We got the Punisher skull on there. It's like, oh, add to cart. You gotta have to.
Beautiful.
Tiggity-boo. All right, so Jim's gotta go get Nader. So in the meantime, we'll wheel this one outside, have to hit it with some degreaser. I got all kinds of brake dust and bird poop and everything on there. We'll have to wash them up. We'll change the other two when he comes back. In the meantime, we can put that diff cover on from Spelab. So unfortunately, the gasket that was shipped with this ended up being in 2 pieces instead of 1. So I am going to use some of the right stuff. I'll lay a little film of that down on here. We'll glue her in place. I'll still use the gasket just as I mean, they gave it to us. Just a thin film like so. And then we'll glue this sucker in place. It's like a wee little puzzle. And then all I'll do is where the tears in the gasket are, hit her with a little extra goopy doop. And then I'm just gonna, we don't want this thing to leak ever. And I mean, now that we got a drain bolt on here, we should never have to take this off.
This is true. Pretty handy.
Right? Oh, so gotta wipe this clean. And we got a 6mm Allen key bit here. We gotta put this guy. Ooh. Where's the hole? Where's the hole? Is that the hole? Oh yeah, one more bolt, baby. Okay, well, looks like it's lining up. It's kind of a little worried here. Like, what's all this extra material here? Are we supposed to be able to see that? So I'm just starting them all, getting them finger tight. I mean, so far so good.
It looks pretty nice on there.
Right? We're definitely, I got some black oil undercoating. I'm gonna hit the whole underside of this, freshen up the look and kind of protect it, slow down Mother Nature stealing this thing.
Oh shoot.
But yeah, we'll mask this off so we don't get it covered. This thing's already, you want people behind you to be like, damn! But I mean, as far as installation goes on this thing, can't really get any simpler. You know, they supply you with all the hardware, the gasket, even if the gasket shows up ripped. A little bit of right stuff on there and you're good to go. Don't think we gotta really crank these bolts crazy tight. And then we'll just make sure the drain bolt is snug, and then we'll open up the fill port. Napa's bringing me some gear oil too for this thing, so we'll top her up until we can see it in there. I think you can, it's got like a drain, so I guess you can pull that out. You can fill it until oil comes out of here.
Okay.
And then maybe, I don't know, or fill it up until that ball's floating. But yeah, I gotta say, shout out to Spelab there for sending this thing out. She's beauty.
It is pretty sexy.
Well, and like I said, I'm gonna double check the website just to be sure, but I know the last time I checked it was like 170 bucks or something for this cover, and like, you can't go wrong with that.
No, that's not bad at all.
All right, baby. So I've gone around a few times, just snugging them up. I mean, they came with they got like a wave washer and a lock washer on there, so they're nice and snug. It's all got the double layer of right stuff, the lock washers, the gasket. I think we should be good. You know, you want her sealed up. Nobody likes a leaky rear end.
No.
Okay, so I gotta say the ability of having a fill plug like this on the top of the case, I love it. So we can get this thing topped up. We'll just fill it up until we see a little bit in there, right? And I mean, The fill plug hole is so big. Look at that. I can get the stream just a flowing. Okay, so thanks to our friends at Spelab there, we have gone from this to that. Now, I gotta say, that is a huge, huge improvement. It looks good, and it's red and black, matches the Rednecks Dirtyhands colors. So, you know, the old crusty, rusty one, out of here. This one, the Spelab, you know, it's high strength billet construction. This is gonna add cooling style, you know, this thing. It's well worth, I think, the investment. You know, obviously it was free $99 for me, but if you go to the Spelab's official website there, do I gotta do the www?
No, sir.
www.spelabautoparts.com. If you put in the code RNDH15, you'll get a discount on one of these suckers or anything else on their website. You know, they do all kinds of, they got all kinds of parts, you know, not just diff covers. There's exhausts on there, I think tuners and all kinds of stuff. It's worth checking out. And like I said, this thing here is definitely a quality piece, so it's worth a look. Okay, so this is day number 2 of the video with the raw dog there. We've got it pulled outside, but before we do the full reveal and how the tires look on there, we got one more sponsor, more sponsored product for the raw dog, and that came from Flashark, and it's a cold air intake for the raw dog. So, I mean, hey, why not throw that on? We got the diff cover, we got the nice tires, might as well make it breathe well. It already has a pretty good size exhaust, free-flowing exhaust on there, so a cold air intake would definitely help her out.
Yeah.
It's gotta breathe good, right, baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice new filter will be good too.
It would be, yeah. The original filter was kind of dirty, so I've already stripped it out. That's why we got the hood up there. I already pulled out all the stock airbox and everything. So let's go in the shop and take a look at the goodies that Flashark sent us.
All right, let's get it.
Oh, Jim's working on another project, pulling the front end off of JP's old buggy so we can repurpose it, eh?
And what you gonna go on?
Well, possibly a snowmobile. Maybe not. I don't know if it'll be that one or something else, but we might be putting some wheels on a sled. Who knows?
I think you should.
All right. So we got our main air tube, our big ass filter. We got all the rubber elbows we need, clamps. And I'm guessing this is a divider plate to separate the hot air from the engine. And the filter's gonna sit on this side, pointing towards the front. The one downside I would say is there was no instructions in the box, but I think we can figure it out. Can you see in there, baby?
I might need your stool.
Right? I'm a little short fella. So I've already stripped out the stock air box and hosing, all that stuff. She's a little crispy under the hood of the raw dog here. We may, we should be changing that oil line going to the turbo. She's not looking long for this world. But in the meantime, we'll do that after. Right now, this is all about plumbing in this cold air intake from Flashark. So let's see.
What do you want first?
What's in the box? Maybe set her down on the ground, might be easier. Okay, so we got the main tube. Now, this tube here, it's got the other hole. I think there's a rubber grommet in here somewhere that goes in this hole, and then one air sensor goes in here. We don't have this guy, so I'm gonna have to block that off. So I was already kind of thinking, hold on. I've got this 3M aluminized tape or whatever. This stuff, I've used it before. You use it for ducting and stuff like that in houses and all that, so it should be good for the air tube here. So I'll rip a piece off, we'll wrap her around, we should be good to go. Oh, and now she's not flat black, she's chrome.
Nice.
There you go. That hole is sealed up, so we won't have any extra air coming in that's not filtered. And I mean, this tape, it's good enough, she ain't going nowhere. I mean, yeah, it's a little redneck taping up your new freaking cold air kit, but I mean, hey, we don't have that grommet or whatever, and I don't have a plug that would fit there, so, you know, tape it is. So, like I said, there was no instructions in the box, so I figure I'm gonna start with the biggest piece first. I don't know, I figure put this in and it should tell us where everything else kind of has to be. So, I'm assuming this is gonna go in here something like so. So I think we got to reuse. We got to pull this bolt out of the fender, and I think we got to pull. There's a bolt here going into the radiator. We're gonna have to pull that out. There's a tab there, and then there's one tab here where the original air box pinned down in. I think we'll put a bolt in there. So we'll bolt this in, move all these lines out of the way, and then we'll see the elbow pipe. I'm assuming, although you know what they say when you assume. I think it's gonna go something like that, and then stick through this hole. Yeah, we got it figured out. So there was a little baggie in there. Does have a little grommet for that one hole in the charge tube, or I call it a charge tube, it's just an air tube. But we don't have the piece that this grommet's for, so that is going over the shoulder. This truck is definitely rustier than we may have to look into a new heavy hauler for the channel, because this one, Mother Nature is definitely stealing it.
Yes.
A little by little.
It's gonna turn into dust soon.
I think so. But I mean, so far, I mean, this, like what, we're only a couple minutes into it.
Yeah.
I mean, taking this stock airbox and all that stuff out is super simple, very easy to do, doesn't take much time at all. So total time on this job so far, we're talking minutes. Wouldn't even be able to drink a full beer yet.
Speaking of rust.
Yeah, trying to put this one back into the radiator, it's so rusted the threads are disappearing. It won't grab the clip going back in, so she was a one-time use pull. It was put in when this thing came off the assembly line, and it ain't going back in, so I gotta go find another bolt. Voila. Thanks to my junk drawer. We got another bolt. This heat shield, I guess we'll call it, or divider panel, is in with 3 points of contact, bolted into the rad, bolted into the fender, and we got her bolted in there. It's tight and right. So now we need I'm guessing this elbow and probably one or two of these clamps. These are pretty good looking band clamps. Fancy. I think they're all the same size. Oh, that one's, it's like a magic trick. Like, look at the rings. How the heck do you get her out of there? There we go. Oh, see? Party tricks. So we got two of those for down. Oh, yeah, two for on there. Okay, and then we'll need one up here. Another one up here. I don't need that. Okay, now I don't know. I'm assuming this end onto the turb ski. And we want to angle it up this way. Our battery's plugged in, so we don't want to be crossing wrenches over top of anything here. Oh, maybe that's not the clamp for there. Maybe they are. Maybe there are some different sizes.
What's that one for down there?
That's the big ones for the actual air filter. Come on, you son of a... Oh wait, 4 inch. 4-inch, 4-inch, 4-inch. They're all 4-inch, so one of them's got to fit on here. So right off the bat, honey, I mean, this divider plate bolted in no problem, but these 4-inch clamps that they give you to put this all together, they may look nice, but yeah, they don't fit. They're 4-inch. Like, once you get it on the rubber, and I've got it screwed out as far as I can go, it's only holding on by like 1 or 2 threads. I can't jam, the rubber's so flimsy, you can't put it on because you got the little ridge on the edge of the turbo there. Oh, that clamp went for a walk. You can't put it over. And then if you take the clamp apart, you know, you lose the little T-nut thing. It goes down into the abyss. So these clamps here, no. So I'm gonna just use regular hose clamps, gear clamps. These ones I got are way bigger, so they'll fit no problem. So let's continue. So you need to be able to put that on all the way. And I'm thinking we gotta clock it where it needs to be. This rubber boot is a little bit on the flimsy side, but I think once it's all together, it should be fine. I think we'll put that one there. I'll snug up the clamp. All right. One down. So, you know, just trying to be honest here. We appreciate, you know, people, sponsors sending us products, and we're willing to give it a go. But fault number 2 for this cold air intake, you know, the screws that they give you to put the sensor back in are not long enough. So, like, there's 2 threads sticking out of there. So we got to go back. I got these, found a couple longer ones, so they go through. So hopefully the holes in there are long enough and the thread's the same, we can stick them in there. So that's 2 strikes for the Flashark thing. You know, the clamps were junk and the screws were wrong. So that is air filter installed. We got the air sensor back in there. Everything is tight and right. And then they do give you this little bit of weather seal. Again, I'm assuming you just jam it on the top of here. This is supposed to seal it to the bottom of the hood, so you get a good seal for airflow and all that jazz. Looks like we need a little trim-a-doodle. Good thing I have. I never leave home without a handy-dandy Swiss Army pocket knife.
Unless you're at Canada's Wonderland, then you lose it.
Yeah, right? Who knew they frisk you when you go into the freaking amusement park? And it's like, if you got a pocket knife in your pocket when you go into Canada's Wonderland, they take it, do not give it back. Oh, there's a little bit of steel in here. I'm gonna need some snips. Alright, with that trimmed on there, that is sealed on there. So now, I guess we just gotta try and gently shut the hood, make sure that this actually fits wherever it's supposed to, and we don't break anything or it doesn't jam or wedge. So that concludes the installation of the Flashark cold air intake for your 5.9 Cummins diesel. Now, I mean, it fits, it's on there. I guess, you know, we got a brand new nice clean filter, so it should be breathing pretty good. You know, it's not their fault or whatever. They, you know, comes with the hole, the provision there for whatever other sensor in there. I just taped it off because I'm not using it. A couple of new screws that fit in there. The clamps that they send, I would recommend just getting regular gear clamps. They fit way better. If you can get those clamps to fit on, you're a better man than me. But all right, so let's see if this fits, baby.
Look good?
So far, I believe we have clearance. So, I mean, it's almost shut, so. Boom. Tickety boo. Okie dokie. So, we've got the tires on, we got the diff cover on, we got the cold air intake on. Now, check out my baby's new shoes. Baby girl. So now that the job's all done, the only last thing to do is to test drive it, and I say no better way to test drive it than to do a BWRUN beer run. I need some rusty nails. We drank them all last night, so say we pitter patter get at her, hit the highway. We'll be able to see if we can hear each other talk.
Yeah, see if they're better than the ones that you had on there.
All right, I'm hoping they're a little bit quieter. So I love the sound of your voice. So I like to listen to you sing while we're driving. So not the howling of the tires. Yeah, get on in there, my two ladies. Poppy going for a ride too. It's been a while since we've been running the raw dog here. It's a little bit of a step up to get in there, eh?
Been a while.
Watch your toes. Good to be back in the raw dog. Now I got the window down. I mean, we do have a little bit of wind noise and all that, but normally with those other tires it would just be like whoa, 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 whoa right now.
Yeah, definitely a lot quieter.
Yeah, they were what were they, the Joey Lawrence of the tires? Whoa. You remember that? Whoa, 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 whoa.
What are you thinking about the cold air intake?
I mean, as far as I can tell, it's working. You know, I can definitely hear the turbo whistle a little bit different than from before. Yeah. So it must be flowing freer. You know, we do have the free flowing exhaust too. So, you know, I mean, it's an upgrade no matter what. You know, this the raw dog's definitely breathing better. It's got better lungs now. So hopefully that equates to a little bit of power and a little bit of fuel mileage. You know, for the long hauls towing the trailer. We'll find out when we go to Massport. You know, mileage-wise and all that. But, yeah, I gotta say, overall, all the upgrades that we've done, I think are good ones. These Antera's tires, the deep diggers from the Tire Man out in Nova Scotia, are riding chef's kiss. Nice. They are way smoother than the tires that I had on here before. Yeah. I mean, they're quieter. Definitely. You know. Whoa, yeah, they are way quieter, aren't they?
Definitely, yeah. I would have rather these for our trip to Minnesota.
Right? So I gotta say, you know, shout out to the Tire Man Nova Scotia there. These tires are fantastic so far. You know, I can't wait. We'll have to do a video. We'll have to go off-roading and see how deep the diggers dig. And then the diff cover, you know, I think that thing makes the back of this truck just look wild. It gives it that custom stylish look. A little bit extra oil capacity to keep it cool for when we're towing and hauling the trailer. And you know what? It's an upgrade no matter what. It's strong, durable, stylish. You know, you can't beat it. And the price, you know, I suggest anybody that's got an AAM 11.5 ring gear rear differential, you know, whether it's Cummins or another truck, it's worth looking into because it's solid. As long as we'll do the maiden voyage, make sure she's not leaking, eh? Yeah. Like, the truck is driving so nice with these big tires on here. And usually when you put the big wide tires and 35s on it, you kind of feel like you're in the ocean. You get a little bit of weeble wobble and all that, like having a couple of wobble pops. But it's driving smooth. It's steering perfectly straight. There's no vibrations. And I was a little worried, you know, using the two different tire machines and my balancer. My tire balancer technically only really is supposed to do like 17-inch rims, not 20s, but 35. So we kind of eyeballed and guessed the balance on it, but I think we nailed it right on the head, because this thing is not, it does not have the Parkinson's. All right, you girls stay here. I'm gonna go see our local government moonshiner.
Jingle dangle.
All right, well, I mean, this video for me was a pretty fun one to do because, you know, been doing this channel for, you know, a few years now, and we're, you know, we're still relatively a small channel, 33 almost thousand subscribers, but the fact that we got some companies coming out, stepping up to the plate and, you know, offering us some of their products to offer to you guys just to showcase, give our honest opinions about the stuff, you know. I'm not saying everything's great, but I gotta say, you know, Mandy contacted me from the Tire Man out in Nova Scotia, wanting to sponsor us. You know, she called actually to give us Christina a set of rims or tires for her Jeep, but Christina likes her Mickey Thompsons that are on there. So, you know, I was like, you know what, the Raw Dog needs some new shoes, I'll give them a go. And those, the deep diggers there are fantastic. You know, they ride smooth, they're quiet, they look great. You know, the tread pattern's nice and tight. You know, Christina can vouch for how...
it was definitely a lot quieter.
Yeah. So if you guys want to try out a set of these Antares deep diggers there, give the Tire Man a shout. Look them up online, thetireman.ca. Put in a promo code. I had to write it down on my hand. RNDH10 to get 10% off of anything you order. The Antares, they got 3 flagship brands. They got these Antares, then they have the Arrivos and Road Cruises. So there's 3 different brands you can go for. Those are their flagship. They have other brands, tires and all that too. And so far, I gotta say, they're great people to deal with, and hopefully we can get another set of tires. We got a possible 3-wheel snowmobile project. We might want to, who knows, right? So check them out, tireman.ca, RNDH10, save some money. And then Spelab reaching out, you know, with that diff cover there. A lot of people give, you know, stuff from China crap, but I mean, that diff cover is heavy duty. It looks great. It looks like it's well built to me. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to pick that out of line if it was a North American company or what. The solid piece, we got it on the Raw Dog. It's got extra cooling, it's got extra capacity, it's got extra looks, extra style. And I mean, aside from the gasket being ripped in the box, all the hardware was there, everything was tight and right on it. And I gotta say, aside from yours, that's the best looking rear end I've ever seen, honey. So, if you guys want to try out that diff cover for, if you got a Dodge, you know, it's an AAM 11.5 ring gear is what's on this one, 14 bolt. Go check out their website, spelabautoparts.com. You can check out, they've got lots of parts too, not just the diff covers. They've got intakes, exhausts, all that kind of stuff, tuners, I think too. But yeah, I gotta say that right there, 10 out of 10. So we got a promo code going for them too. Wrote that sucker down as well. It's RNDH15. You'll save 15% on checkout if you go and grab one of those, so check them out. And then the honest review and opinion on the Flashark cold air intake. You know, it's a mixed review. The quality of the clamps I wasn't too fond of, and the screws were too short to screw that sensor back in there. But I mean, the sound that we get going down the road, I can hear the turbo whistling. They claim 14 extra horsepower, so I mean, hey, it's worth a shot, right? You know, the shirt they sent me, freaking wild.
It's not bad.
Gotta like it, you know? So, I mean, hey, you know, it's not what it's, I think went on their website, it's 114 bucks for that cold air intake, which is pretty reasonable in the realm of what other companies are charging for cold air intakes. So it's worth a shot. I'm gonna run it on this one. The air filter is reusable, washable. You know what? It's all aluminum tubing. If they're claiming 14 more horsepower, we're gonna find out. So if you want to find out, save a little bit of money and put in a code, well, you got to go to their website, flasharkracing.com, and we got a promo code, wrote it right down there, FLRD15, and you'll save 15% there if you put that code in. You saw it from Rednecks Dirtyhands, and yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's cold air intake. Is it the best one in the world? Probably not, but is it affordable? Absolutely. Alright, well, as always, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it entertaining and helpful. You know, we got some awesome sponsored projects for the Raw Dog in this one. You know, it's awesome to see that the channel's getting to that point. It humbles you a little bit and makes us want to do this even more. Hopefully we can get some more sponsors. Hey, Woodies, we need traction adders. Hey, VP Fuels, we need fuel. Hey, Molson, I need fuel too. But you know what? It's fun. I love doing this kind of stuff. And you know what? Christina will make sure she puts all the websites and the promo codes for the awesome tires, the wicked diff cover, and that cold air intake. Gives you 14 more horsepower. We're gonna definitely find out. We're gonna try her. But as always, take her easy. Cheers. This one here, we just bought this case. Any true Canadian could drink a warm export. Yeah, Jim's right. Rusty nails is what it tastes like.
Yum.